So hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us for our Office of Public Records Emancipation Day Recognition Program with the great Herb Smith, who is sitting right here next to me. I am Dr. Lopez Matthews Jr., the State Archivist and Public Records Administrator in the Office of Public Records. And I'm excited to have this program today to talk about music and its role in the Black community, because that is the theme for Black History this year. And so I don't want to take up too much time, but I will introduce Mr. Herb Smith, who is a professor of history, talks about jazz, a jazz musician, and what did you say you were?
A tap dance.
A tap dancer. And so without further ado, I will move out of the way and let Mr. Smith begin his conversation.
So thank you. It is a joy for me to come before you. I'm always tickled to be asked to put together some things to celebrate and to commemorate the importance of music in the struggle. And so Mr. Bill Branch was the point person. He asked whether I would be interested, and of course, I'm too well raised to say no, and I had to say yes, and it's always been a pleasure and a joy. So this evening, our theme is the role of music in the struggle for freedom. And what I want to do is to talk for a short bit and then play musical examples. I want to kind of give some historical perspectives and some analysis. So, the role of music in the struggle for freedom, the role of music in the ongoing movement for freedom, justice, liberty, and equality is the same as it was from those first faithful moments experienced by our African ancestors arriving in the Americas. It was the art form of music that was to play a significant role in the struggle and resistance to chattel slavery and racial oppression. Music possesses the energy and inspiration to fight and resist the pain and injury caused by both the institution of slavery and the practice of racism. In every effort and movement to survive and withstand the pressures and damages of racial supremacy, there are most often magical and memorable rhythms and melodies which propel protest movements to move forward. Social change or highlighting of specific issues to focus upon were greatly advanced by the incorporation of music. In the middle of a protest action, a participant could spontaneously break into a song that captured the mood of the moment. Several examples of spontaneous responses might be, "This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine." That's one example. Another example is, "We are climbing Jacob's ladder." Another is amen, 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 amen. The effectiveness of these pieces is due to the fact that most participants were fairly familiar with the songs, and even if they were not familiar with the songs, the participants quickly caught on due to their simplicity and catchiness. Some protest songs were improvised and made up on the spot, which gave this music a local as well as a democratic flavor. It should also be noted that the music was a source of communications in the organizing, directing, and coordinating of tactics and strategies in the act of protest demonstrations. The following are some powerful examples of music associated with political and social change. Everybody knows "Lift Every Voice and Sing," though you might not always know all the words, but you got the idea. Lift every voice and sing. I wish I knew how it would feel to be free, popularized by the great Nina Simone. Steal away, steal away, steal away home. If people were trying to run away from the institution of slavery, they may sing "Steal Away" to kind of let their friends, brothers, relatives know that some people were trying to run away from this thing of slavery. How about "Go Tell It on the Mountain"? Now that's a happy tune. Go tell it on the mountain. Now this piece in the 60s kind of shocked me at first. I said, okay, we get in the spirit. And this was done by a guy who was identified as the busiest man in show business. That was James Brown. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. Wow. Say it loud. How about "Ain't Gonna Let Nobody Turn Me Around"? No more auction block for me. Keep your eyes on the prize. How does it go, Bill? Your hands on the plow and hold on. How about "Now's the Time" by the great bebop jazz musician Charlie Parker? Curtis Mayfield, we all know him. Not only did he tell us it was all right to have a good time. Yeah, it's all right. He said, "People, get ready. There's a train a-coming." How about "Stand Up for Your Rights"? Bob Marley. 103rd Street Watts Band, "Express Yourself." How about a local boy who made good and became famous? Marvin Gaye, "Inner City Blues," makes me want to holler. Additional musical examples reveal just how pervasive music was as a driving force, not only in the lives of Africans in America, but in their efforts and commitment toward total freedom and liberation. So let's buckle up and continue with the following litany of examples. I wrote down as many as I could think of, but there are many, 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 many more. I heard it through the grapevine. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall not be moved. Another man done gone. I'm a soul man. Sam and Dave. Hit the road, Jack. It's your thing. Do what you want to with it. How about the Isley Brothers? Now, this one tends to make folks laugh. You got the right string, baby, but the wrong yo-yo. Got my mojo working. I tried it in New York City, and now I'm going to try it out on you. Muddy Waters got my mojo working. Let my people go. How about this chant? No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. How about walk tall? How about a change is going to come? I was born by the river in a little tent. And like that river, I've been moving ever since. Here's Curtis again. He says, if you had a choice of color, which one would you choose, my brother? Give that some thought. How about let's get it on? Keep on pushing. And here's Stevie Wonder. He says, superstition is not the way. Sly Stone says, I want to thank you for letting me be myself again. How about Billie Holiday, who says, strange fruit? And if that's not enough, she says, God bless the child that's got his own. Here's Muddy Waters again. He says, I'm a man, I'm a man. Or I'm a man. Freedom now. And of course, there's quite a few versions of this piece. Ray Charles has a famous version, and as well as Solomon Burke and the five blind boys of Alabama. None of us are free if one of us are chained. Y'all got that? None of us are free. Maybe I should say it a little slower. None of us are free if one of us are chained. Now, if you think you've got freedom, you can't have it just by yourself. Make sure that the rest of the brothers and sisters are with us. Finally, to temporarily end our list of musical examples, we can end on this chant. Power to the people. Now, we shouldn't have to give that too much thought. Power to the people. That's kind of in the spirit of musically speaking. Give the drama song. Give the drama song. Power to whom? Power to the people. For over 400 years, Africans in America would fight for not only their group identity, but also for their individual identities as well. The ancestors under the slave regime were not allowed to know or retain their histories, religion, languages, or customs. So one would have to ask, how then were the Africans in America to be themselves? For Africans in America to be African was a huge no-no. You can't be African. But this wasn't the worst of it. Not only were they not allowed to be themselves, but they were also not allowed to be some other personages. Like, for example, their European captors. Plain and simple and to the point, the Africans in America were not to be human. And so, for the Africans, suddenly at the end of the nightmarish middle passage, they were not to have the following: no history, no culture, no languages, no religion, no aspirations, no African names. So that's how I came up with Herb Smith. They took our names. No ceremonies, no dances, at least not officially, but we are the source of all the dances coming out of America, ladies and germs. And what's so interesting is when I found out where the Charleston came from, it blew my mind. The Charleston is a Watusi dance. The samba is from Mozambique and Guinea-Bissau. The mambo that's in Cuba. All of these are African dances. Salsa has African roots. Yes, indeed. No cuisines. They weren't going to let us cook African food the African way. No rituals, no personal possessions, and no personal desires. So, it was the burden and task of music to provide the African in America with practically everything that was necessary to be human. Music had to literally become physical as well as spiritual space. What on earth is he talking about? We had no public spaces. The public spaces had to just be with us. If we wanted to have church out in the middle of the cotton field, that's where we had it. On the beach, we had it walking down the street. Because there was a little group over here at Howard University for a while that had a very hit tune, big hit tune called Walking in Rhythm and singing a song. So when we're walking in rhythm and we're singing a song. Music had to replace everything that was missing under the regime of slavery and racism. Music had to be home, the hood, the playground, the hangout, the community, the social event, the happening, the location, and the place. Music is the recreation of all of that. Music is a substitute for memory. If our subject in question could not find their favorite place on earth, their favorite relative, their favorite food, and speaking of food, collard greens, catfish, chitlins, grits, oxtail, neck bones, their favorite girlfriend or boyfriend, they had but to play a certain piece of music to recreate and remember. If you miss Memphis, Cleveland, Detroit, LA, Atlanta, New Orleans, St. Louis, Chicago, Harlem, Louisville, Kentucky, or even Paducah, or somewhere down home, you would play music to create the essence of the place itself, its history and meaning. And so, yeah, this is again a joy to be here talking about freedom. Stand up for your rights. Yes, indeed. And to play this music and put all these things together, and you can see how each piece gives a certain momentum and connection with all of this. And when sometimes people ask me, well, who's your favorite musician? And what's your favorite song? I really can't tell them because it's so many. I like them all. And to try to put this together was really tough because there's so much good music, so many dynamic thoughts. So we're not hurting for ideas at all. And throughout all the time, the musicians have stood up at the plate and wow. Yeah. So my homeboy, B.B. King, put out a heck of a record. Everybody wants to know why I sing the blues. So he's talking about the same thing. We all got a piece of it. We got the idea. So let freedom ring.
Well, thank you for that great lecture, Mr. Smith, and for sharing those wonderful songs. I don't know if anyone in our audience has any questions, but I have a question for you. You showed us a lot of music that encourage people to stand up, encourage people to protest, and you see a little bit of it today, but not a lot. What do you think of today's music and how today's music pushes people to protest?
Well, we may not have a movement that's always active and focused, but with the Black Lives Matter groups and all that's important. And we got to stay on the case and be ready, as Curtis Mayfield would suggest, and people get ready. These things, the movements sometimes ebb and flow, but our cause still remains the same, that we're looking for freedom, we're looking for integrity. We heard it in Nina Simone, and we heard it in Bob Marley. Some people in our audience may not know Bob Marley at one time lived in the USA, United States. He lived in Wilmington, as I understand it, Delaware, and might have worked, believe it or not, at a McDonald's. So Bob heard Motown. Bob knew Stax Records. He knew the sound coming out of Los Angeles. So he was awake. When I first heard Bob Marley, I said, oh, we got a winner. And when you hear all of these folks, it's no one person, but all these people are saying something. Marvin was saying something, as we well know. Otis Redding drifted into my hometown of Memphis, Tennessee. He was just a chauffeur for a musician. And he told Booker T, who we came to know as Booker T and the MGs, he said, I have a song I'd like to sing. Can you play it with me? And after they heard Otis, they almost signed him up right on the spot. Otis. And we know Otis wrote a tune that can be used for all these occasions. He wrote a tune called Respect. Respect. Yeah. Respect. I think isn't that the way you spell it?
I think so.
But Aretha spelled it out.
Yeah.
Quite often people say they may think that's Aretha's song. Aretha put her stamp on it.
She did.
But respect is about all these things we're talking about. And that's where Otis was coming from. Yeah.
Well, that's great. And I want to thank you again for giving us this great lecture and participating in our Emancipation Day program. And I want to thank everyone who has come and attended this program. And I hope you've enjoyed it and I hope you've learned something. And follow the Office of Public Records on Twitter at DC State Archives to find out more about our programs that we hold throughout the year. So thank you all for coming and have a great night.